Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Las Vegas Raiders Insider podcast here at the Raiders practice facility, where literally just a few moments ago, Antonio Pierce completed his Monday press conference. Just another example of how things are different. Antonio gave the players some time away, so they won't even be here unless they come in for treatment until Wednesday. Just gave them time off, a victory Monday. Just go and enjoy yourselves and have an extra day off, which is good for them. And certainly, just having been a player, it's just another example of how he relates to players on a different level. Um, Couple of observations, and then we're going to put the New York Giants to bed, and we're going to talk about the franchise moving forward today. Wink Martindale is very well respected around the National Football League for his defense and defensive prowess. He's very well respected. And Wink put together a defense that I don't know how much you noticed, but the Raiders gave up 0 sacks, ran for over 100 yards. And one of the most telling things about it was he had pressure all night coming from all different parts of the field. And um, talking with Antonio Pierce just a minute ago, um, Antonio said he was in every meeting last week for the offensive line, that he challenged them and he believes in them. I think it's important to understand championship teams are built on the lines, the offense and defensive lines. We're going to talk about the Raiders offensive line today and how they did yesterday, because I don't think they're getting enough credit. They have gotten um, a lot of grief from people. And I have said all along, I don't think the Raiders offensive line was playing poorly. I don't think they were the best, but I certainly don't think they've been playing poorly. Greg Van Roten, not last week, meaning yesterday's weekend of games, but the previous weekend, was one of the highest rated guards in all the National Football League. I saw one person say he was the best, and others said he was second. Either way, he was very good. Colton Miller yesterday, Antonio talked about him driving his guy and literally drove him out of bounds, almost went water boy on him. The water boy reference is mine, not Coach Pierce's, but Andre James had a good game. Dylan Parham had a good game. I think you saw some things at right tackle. There were, it was a good game there. I thought overall the offensive line yesterday was exceptionally good for the Raiders. I think it was their best performance of the season on a couple of fronts. First of all, because of it being Wink Martindale's defense and the way that he brought pressure, I think is what made it an even more impressive performance. You can flip over and talk about Tyree Wilson for a minute. I have said, and I maintain, this was a year that they expected. Their only expectation of him was to get better, just because of the injury and getting late to camp. And if you look at other defensive linemen who come out highly praised as rookies, it's usually not till year two where they start to reach that potential. Just the defensive line is a very difficult place to step in and be an immediate impact guy. Hang on, I'm getting a text here. I want to make sure it's nothing that I'm going to tell you. Okay, it's not. Um, and so I think Tyree Wilson, I've heard some people say they thought he disappeared yesterday. I would encourage you to go back and watch the film. He got a sack. There was more than one pressure. I think there were 3 pressures, and he did some impressive things in the run game. So I think he's coming. Do I think he's playing like you would expect a number 5 pick? I think a number 5 pick who was a defensive lineman and essentially missed all of training camp. Yeah, I think he's fine. I don't think there's enough on him to label him a bust. I know that Raider Nation is still really sore about Cleve Farrell. I get that. I understand it, but I don't think that's fair to the kid. I think based on knowing what their expectations were, knowing about the injury and everything else, I think he's coming along fine. And Antonio Pierce is pleased with his progress up to this point. Obviously, we know about Max and we know about other things on the defensive line, but I think the Raiders and the attention to detail of Antonio Pierce is paid off big in week one. this is going to be a very big week. We're going to learn a lot about the Raiders this week because two reasons. Number one, the Jets are better than the Giants. Number one. Number two is how do they handle success now? How do they handle it? Is it a business approach? Okay. I understand Josh McDaniels was all about the process. I've talked about that in the last podcast, the recap of the Giants game. I encourage you to go watch that. But Antonio was like, hey, take an extra day off. But now are they able to take that, take the party atmosphere of the after game, take the extra day off, and then come in ready and engaged and let's go. And I think that's going to be a big look at this team. Do I think that they can? Yes. Do I think that they will? Yes. But it's still something you got to see. And with this team, I think if we've learned anything this year, you got to see. It's almost like you're from Missouri. Just got to show me. But that was a big observation after watching the film of Wink in his defense. That was a big observation that stood out watching film, and that's why I was glad that Antonio discussed it. A couple other things that I think are really important about the game yesterday and some things. If you DVR'd it, I really encourage you to go back and watch the game. Turn the volume off, and I'm going to give you a way I'd like you to watch it. Most people just watch the football. Okay. If you watch, the camera follows the football, which makes sense. Try to watch away from the football. Now, this takes discipline, but go back and watch off film. Watch when they're showing the sidelines. Watch when guys are going to the sidelines. I don't know how much shows up on the TV copy, but I encourage you to watch that. It's going to take you inside where the Raiders are at this moment. All right, I want to talk a little bit because I've about the state of the franchise. I've had several people ask me, do I still believe Tom Brady is in line for a percentage of ownership after the NFL rejected the original application? Yes. I think there is a significantly higher chance that Tom Brady is going to be a part owner of this team than he's not. I can't get into a lot of details because it would possibly reveal who I spoke to, but I talked to somebody this morning and asked them and was told the word absolutely. So I fully expect Tom Brady to be involved in the process. Someone asked me, do you think Tom Brady is the one who fired Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler? No. In fact, it wasn't just someone, several people. Do I think that Mark Davis talked to Tom? I want to be super careful. I want to pick my words very clear. Yes, I do believe he talked to him. I don't believe that it was Tom's decision. But yes, I do believe that Tom was aware. Mark and Tom talk often. Mark wants Tom to be part of this franchise. And I have reason to believe that, yes, that Mark, let him know what he was thinking. It's going to be fascinating now with this franchise moving forward. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. There's going to be more things that I'm able to report to you. I'm going to have a story coming later this week. I don't know what day, so you're going to have to forgive me. It's probably going to be Thursday, but it could be Friday. So somewhere in that about the franchise, about last week, going into more details. I'm going to give you a lot more details just on McDaniels and Pierce's conversation after the meeting. I'm going to give you some more details about the meeting. I'm also going to be giving you details about the meeting after Pierce was named head coach. I got some really good information there that I think you're going to like. It's going to detail really what he told the team and how the team responded I think that's a really, really big deal. I want to get into body language because if you go back and watch the game and turn the volume off, you're going to see there was a lot of guys having fun. And thank God the Patriot way is dead. We know that without Tom Brady, the Patriot way does not work. Clearly, go ask the people in New England. Um, but one of the things that I think that um, Tom Brady is a very rare breed. Now, I want to explain what I mean by that. Obviously, he's the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. I don't even think that's close. And if you think, well, that's just because he's new and you don't know about old school, well, I don't think LeBron's close to the best player. In fact, I think LeBron is in. I think Magic was better than LeBron. I think Wilt Chamberlain was better than LeBron. I think Oscar Robertson was better than LeBron. I think he's in the top five, but I don't think LeBron's there. Um, Clearly, Michael is better. So I mean, I have LeBron at five, so I'm not a person that's only skewed to new. I think you have to look at things, but I think Tom Brady proves that the system worked because of him. And Tom Brady was so geared for just win, win, win. It was all about winning. That the Patriot way of stick to the process, stick to the process, stick to the process, it grieved him where he got picked in the draft. So he always had a chip on his shoulder. And Tom Brady's parents did a tremendous job of really um, teaching him about work ethic. And if you're a person that was raised by, for example, my father, very strong work ethic, work, work, work. Now, we did a lot of fun. He was a great dad. This is not a complaint, great provider. But each of his children, my father's six children, there's five of us that are alive now. My sister is gone to be with the Lord. And with him, ironically, not ironically, but thankfully, but my father's children all had a strong work ethic because he did. And so it worked with Brady in New England because of that. It People here were frustrated because with Josh, I told you the story and I mentioned it in last night's video, but I'll just mention it here real quick. The player after the Patriot game, a leader on this team, so happy for Josh. And then Wednesday, flustered because it didn't seem Josh took any time to enjoy it. I know that. And so you can't play this game without there being an element. Now, some guys just play for the money, and fans hate those players. And it's very clear who they are. But to play this game at a high level, it's got to be fun. And I think that is the one thing Antonio Pierce has done. He's done several, and I'll get into those later this week. But I think he's brought fun back here, and guys are having a blast. You know, the offensive linemen wrestling in the locker room. Before, I think it would have been somebody's going to get hurt. And now it's okay, relax, just let them have a little bit of fun playing basketball in the locker room. If you didn't see my interview after the game last night with Greg Van Roten, go watch that. Just trust me, it was a lot of fun. We talked about he didn't think he could beat Devontae in locker room basketball, but we really dig in on. It's important to dig in on that. Is one of the biggest things injected with hope. I don't think you can underestimate what Antonio Pierce did. Now, I'm going to give you an example. When Patrick Graham was hired here, he was very vocal to Josh McDaniels that he wanted Antonio Pierce to come here and be part of his staff. It was a great decision. And he believed in Antonio, and Antonio believed in him. And then when Antonio gets the job, he already liked what Patrick Graham was doing. There were some things that Patrick Graham wanted to even do that Josh didn't, that they're able to implement, and Antonio was on board with that. But he sat down with Bo Hardegree, and that was Antonio's call. This was his team, and he's the one to make the call. Yeah, appreciate Mick, but Josh was the offensive coordinator. I want to elevate Bo to that level. And it wasn't a slam on Mick. And I've heard some people say, oh, Antonio hated Mick. Not the case at all. But Josh was the play caller. Josh was the offensive coordinator, and he wanted a new look. So Bo Hardigree comes in, and Antonio tells him, this is what I'm looking for. I don't want to play offense afraid. I want to attack, but I want to be smart. I want to be physical. Hardigree agreed. And what I'm told by someone who was there is that Hardigree then went into a dissertation with Antonio Pierce of, here's what I want to do. I think we can do that. And everything Hardigree said was on a piece of paper Pierce had written down. And when they got done the meeting, Pierce just, well, okay, you addressed everything on my paper, and let him do it. When you're a interim coach and you want the job, it is, some guys try to overmanage. To his credit, Rich Bisaccia didn't do this either. They overmanage because they're so worried about getting the job. Antonio Pierce was all about beating the Giants. His mentality is like he had as a player. Hey, if I go whoop everybody's ass on the schedule, I'm going to get the job. And he let Bo, and to Bo's credit, and I don't know if Bo will have a chance to be the OC moving forward. I believe he probably will if Antonio is to get the job, and I'm rooting for him. But wherever he goes, he has demonstrated he's ready for it. He kept Antonio in the loop. This is what I'm doing. This is big. This is big. Now, I touched on this after the game yesterday, but I don't believe I gave it enough attention. In fact, someone in the organization who saw the podcast told me I didn't give it enough attention. But they did not have to dig into all of the changes last week. Now, that is very big. That means there's still some stuff in the oven that the Jets haven't prepared for. That's big. I'm not going to get into why give them a schematic advantage, but here's why it's big. Bo Hardigree's in the building today. He was in the building last night. He's going to be in the building tomorrow when players aren't here. Watching films, scheming, what can I even add? So there's already new stuff that they implemented, and you saw yesterday. There was new stuff you didn't get to see, and there's going to be more new stuff added. Now, they may not need it all against the Jets. So then they go in to the Miami game, a game that I think it's very reasonable, if you're not a fan, and I'm not, to say I expect them to lose in Miami. But it's a very big deal to be able to have those extra weapons, because nobody right now knows what to expect from the Raiders. Yeah, nobody knows what to expect from the Raiders. So this week, I know that Bo is working on developing some new ideas. I know that Patrick Graham is. They're working on getting people healthy. No update yet on Marcus Peters. I know he left the game. No update at all. Nobody here even knows yet. So it may come out later. I'm taping this in the morning right after coach's press conference. So it may come out later in the day. But as of right now, they don't have a report, because if they did, I would probably know what it was. And so it's not that they're not saying anything publicly. They don't know inside yet. So they're still getting all of that information on Marcus. But it's about getting guys healthy, getting some new things in. At this point in the season, I'm expecting a little bit of a transition. This is something I've not yet reported. This will be a little bit breaking. Under Josh McDaniels, things were very long and very physical. Again, and I think at this point in the season, they're going to spend more time in the classroom, because they're going to be learning some new things, doing some walkthroughs. I'm not saying that there won't be any pads, but I think the physicality is going to go way down as they work in the classroom, and as they work, in shorts, and they work maybe in shells and some in pads, but not as physical as they implement this. I think there was a lot of good that came out of yesterday, but here's what I took away in talking to people in the organization, players and others. The thing that struck me as the biggest thing from yesterday was they came out with confidence. Now, before yesterday, they had hope. And we know that faith moves mountains. But you can have hope without faith, but you can't have faith without hope, because faith is a substance of things hoped for. And so that hope combined with the confidence of the win, they now are walking with faith here. All right. They expect to beat the Jets. When they played the Bears, there was one thing that really clicked in my head. They had, well, I'll just go back and say this. I had a player on the team when we were talking about the Bears, talking about it's going to be good to go up there and yada, yada, yada. And I said, man, I think you guys are going to get the win against the Bears. And he says, I hope so. And that clicked up here with me. And now there's an expectation. Do I think they're expecting that they're going to win every game the rest of the year? I don't think anybody thinks that. But there's hope. There's hope. And I believe it's transition now to some faith. They have faith. They have faith in Aiden. I had someone tell me early this morning we would have beat the Chargers if the game had been called offensively like it was last night. And I agree with them. I agree with them. And you want to get your young guys some confidence, take some shots, get some confidence. And there's going to be some games ahead that are going to be tough. You're going to lick some wounds. But I think the story is Antonio Pierce not being a coach who is coaching to win a job. He's coaching to lead a franchise. That's a whole different mentality. Rich Bisaccia did that too. And let's be fair. Those two are so different, but yet so similar. Both fiery, both football guys. Very, very cool. And I think that is something that we're going to be watching for all week. I'm looking forward tomorrow. I'm going to talk with Patrick Graham and Bo Hardigree. And then I'm also going to be, of course, in the locker room talking to players this week. I'm going to ask them about that. But I think the story, and again, this is very rare in an interim situation. It happened with Rich, so I don't want you to think that it happens all the time. It's Antonio saying, okay, we're leading a franchise. He's letting his coaches lead. I think that's so vitally important. I heard something from somebody today. I'm not going to tell you because I want a chance to verify it with another person. But I heard something today that could be really unique and special. So I'm going to be working on that. That will probably be Wednesday after practice that I will share that with you. But again, so from headquarters, I think you got a team that's got faith. I think you have a team that believes in where it's going. I think you have a team that the sum of its parts are greater than maybe what they were as individuals. Whereas Josh hammered process, do your job, do your job, do your job, do your job. It's now being hammered, do your job well, and then help the guy next to you and do it for each other. Again, once I take you inside what Antonio Pierce said to the players, I think, and again, that article will be Thursday or Friday. I think you're going to understand those words I just told you in a bigger way. But from your Las Vegas Raiders headquarters, Raider Nation, I can report to you this is a franchise today that's got faith and it's got hope. And well, you can't have hope without faith, but it's got it, and it's a fresh breeze. We know they're not a great franchise as far as a team right now. I think it's a great franchise, but team. But I think you saw some baby steps heading in a right direction. And I think you have every reason to be excited. I know the players were thrilled. In fact, one of them just texted me and said, "Have fun at the facility today. I'll be enjoying a day off." And that's good for them. It's good for you. I hope you're enjoying Victory Monday. I hope wherever you're at, you are just making every fan of another team miserable today. Raider Nation cracks me up, and I can just picture somebody working at a office yelling out Raiders. That's just how you all are, and I love your passion and fire. I want to just take a quick second and let you guys know how much I appreciate you. You are subscribing, following, getting all of our information, and we are just so grateful. We just added another employee to our Raiders coverage. So you're going to begin to see a lot more videos, a lot of shorts on YouTube. As you know, we provide you podcasts and in press conferences and locker room interviews, but we're going to get you a lot of shorts, which are just short things. Please make sure you're subscribing and following and sharing our stuff. We keep it free because we want to give you the best information. And someone said, "Well, how do you keep it free?" By you guys just keep sharing and following and getting all that stuff out there. But we appreciate it. We put up today, I think it's going to be like 13 written articles, podcasts, videos, shorts. I mean, there's going to be probably 25 pieces of content that's fresh and new to your Raiders, and all of it's free. So thank you. Remember, you can follow us by clicking the follow link or the subscribe link. Thank you. And I'm on Twitter at Hondo Carpenter, at HondoCarpenter. I know it's called X. Sorry, I'm old. I just remember it as Twitter, but at Hondo Carpenter. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. I'm here at the Raiders headquarters. We'll have plenty more tomorrow. You have a great day. Remember, go watch the videos yesterday. We had Aiden O'Connell after the game. That was a great video. We had Antonio Pierce after the game. We have his press conference is already up. The one I just came from, that's already up for you to watch. Greg Van Roten, Nate Hobbs, Max Crosby, just lots of great videos so that you don't have to be told what people said. You can hear it for yourself. So, from all of us here at Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, we're part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we thank you for joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. God bless you.